Yeah. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ego, and here we go. My very first documentary. This is something new I want to add to the channel, and I hope everyone enjoys it. This is just the first of many documentaries I will be dropping. But before we start, I gotta ask y'all a favor. If you haven't already, I need y'all to hit that subscribe button, that like button, and after you watch the video, leave some comments for me to let me know what y'all think. I would greatly appreciate it. Now that we got that out the way, it's story time with your boy Ego. So sit back, relax, and tune in to one of the wildest life stories you will hear. This is the story of Julio Foolio.
Oh, hey, this little six for the bricks, man. I just jumped off the porch with dirty glove bathroom. You hear me?
Julio Foolio, also known as just Foolio, grew up on the north side of Jacksonville, Florida, and lived in the Hilltop Village apartments. Foolio had described Hilltop as being one of the worst and most dangerous neighborhoods of Jacksonville.
What part of the city you from?
I'm from the north side of Jacksonville, 1646 West 45th Street, Bricks, 6.
And the north side has a reputation for being one of the more violent sides, right?
Yeah, that's the most violent side of Jacksonville. Ball Creek, off of the long strip. We go to Jacksonville, every day gonna tell you Ball Creek Road type shit. Yeah. Ball Creek, yeah. That's where we from.
He explains how at a young age, seeing things like drugs, shootouts, prostitution. He even says at the age of 11, he witnessed his friend's mother get shot right in front of him.
Like literally the worst hood, Hilltop Village Apartments.
Okay, when you say it's the worst hood, what does that mean exactly?
Like killings, shootings, prostitution, drugs, like whatever, like anything you don't supposed to see, you gonna see it up. Yeah.
Okay, so
Foolio would lose his dad at the age of 13 to gun violence as a result of an altercation he had with another person that turned deadly. Foolio would describe his father as being a big name in the streets as he went by the name Rick the Ruler.
how old when he died?
I think I was like 13.
What happened to him?
He had got in an altercation with somebody. He beat somebody up, right? And I guess after he beat the person up, the person couldn't take the ass whipping, so they shot him. You know what I'm saying? They went and got a gun, came back and shot him.
Okay, and in terms of your dad getting into it with people, was that like just a strange occurrence, or was he someone that was really in the streets and really out there thugging?
And my daddy was thugging, like Rick, his name Rick the Ruler, like he ran his block, like the whole 21st and Murder, like he ran that section, like that was his section. He from the north side too, but he from like another part of the north side. But my daddy ran this section, like he was a real big gangster, like yeah.
Losing his dad would be said by Foolio and his mother to be a big turning point in Foolio's life. Experiencing things like this so early in his childhood, Foolio says opened his eyes and changed his mindset to feeling like this is what life is.
Looking at TV, and then the guy, he thinking everything cool or whatever, and the guy shot him in the back of the head.
Oh man.
So it wasn't like a rival, like anything like that, but that's what happened.
Yeah. Do you feel like that affected Charles in some way?
Yeah, I think that affected him when his grandmother died, which is Charles, Big Charles Baum. He started to rebel.
Fast forward to when he was a little bit older, he moved to the west side of Jacksonville, and this is when he started to get into the streets and quote unquote jump off the porch, getting into fights, getting his first gun, and getting into the street life.
This when I actually moved from the north side to the west side of Jacksonville, and this was like when I started jumping off the porch for real. And like this is where I got my first gun, first pistol. It was just like a lot of stuff, different stuff coming at me so fast. And my first clubs, I went to my first clubs fighting and all type of crazy stuff.
It's worth noting that despite all the negativity going on around him, his mother would say in the Say Cheese interview that he was always very smart and brought home good grades, and he also always showed her the utmost respect. When Foolio was in the 9th grade, he would experience his first loss since jumping into the streets by losing one of his close friends named Aaron Brooks. If you're familiar with his music, he references this name quite a bit when speaking on people he's lost, calling him Lil Aaron. He was killed in a neighborhood him and his friends normally hung around, and Foolio says they found out about this while at school, which resulted in them starting a riot at the school because of the anger and hurt of them suffering their first big loss of a childhood friend.
And then you end up losing one of your close friends.
Yeah, Aaron, 9th grade. I was like 15, 15, 16.
What happened with that?
Well, he was in the neighborhood we used to be on called Clyde, and he ended up getting killed. Yeah, he ended up getting killed. It was just a crazy like whole day in school. Like we was hearing about it, like, but we didn't get the confirmation till one of our other friends that came to school and told us. So when that had happened, like we started a riot in school. Like we had fought, like we were just going crazy about it, like, you know. 'Cause that was our first big loss, like our 15-year homeboy, like who we had lost, you know.
Julio would also explain how this loss affected him and his friends so much that before this happened, even though they were in the streets and carrying guns, some of them were still playing sports like football. But after the killing, this would make them go all in on living the street life. As I go through his story, you will hear about multiple attempts on Foolio's life, but the first would come at the age of 15. He would be attending a school that he says was near his enemies, aka Ops neighborhood. And that particular morning, one of those ops would be killed, and the kids at the school were saying he had something to do with it. This accusation led to him getting into altercations at school and later resulted in him getting shot later that day after getting off the school bus.
Then at 16 years old, you get shot yourself.
15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened with that?
Okay. So this was like my first day of school, like, cause I had got kicked out of a school for fighting, right? They sent me to an alternative school in the Ops hood who I was beefing with. Like, they sent me, it's called Grand Park. They sent me to this school, right, in my Ops neighborhood. So one of the boys from that hood actually died that morning, and they thought I had something to do with it. Like, and he died getting on the school bus. So when I was on the way to school, when I got there, everybody was like, bro, they say you had something to do with such and such dying, bro. We know you had something to do with it. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, hell nah, I was on the way to school, which I was. I'm like, I'm on the way to school. So it came to like fourth period. I was finna fight like three of the same people in the same hood. So, okay, I get off the school bus. Mind you, now I ain't thinking of nothing. Like, I been taunting this man all day, like he been dead. Like, knowing that karma real, I ain't thinking of it at that time, but this would show me karma real. I've been taunting him all day on Facebook, the person who died. So I get off the school bus, I walk through the cut. I'll say probably like 5-10 minutes later, somebody pop out the cut, go to shooting, boom, boom, boom. I got hit on my hip, and my hip popped out of place, and I was just crawling, looking back, looking at him still shooting.
Now, what I find weird about this is that Foolio's mom would say he wasn't even supposed to be riding the bus. She was outside the school waiting to pick him up, but with everything going on, maybe Foolio just wasn't thinking straight at the time, or maybe he felt like something was gonna happen and he didn't want his mom getting caught in the middle of it, which is something we will touch on later in the story.
When he got shot, when he was getting off the school bus, and he don't catch school buses, I was in front of the school waiting on him and fell asleep in front of the school. It was an alternative school. And then I'm like, Charles, where you at? He on the school bus. And then he stopped answering the phone. I'm like, I don't care what we got going on. He's going to answer that phone for me. I don't care what it is. And I found that he got shot.
But for now, Foolio had been shot for the first time, and it would take him 4 to 5 months to recover and learn how to walk again from a dislocated hip. Now at the age of 15, he had already lost his dad and close friend, and almost lost his own life, all to gun violence. This was truly the point that would start to turn Foolio into the person we would all soon come to know, as some would call him the Demon of Jacksonville. After being shot, Foolio would not be allowed to return to the school he was attending, and ended up stopped going to school completely and fully being in the street. This would lead to him having multiple run-ins with the police as a juvenile, getting caught with guns and other illegal activities.
Back to a regular high school, And they were like, yeah, we can't tell you the reason why, but you can't come back, like type shit.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, what the fuck? They were like, you in a gang and you a leader of a gang and some more whole extra shit. I'm like, damn. Basically, my mom knew it was over with. Like, that shit was over with.
Eventually, he would start to use music as not just a hobby, but to distract him from getting into more trouble in the street. See, what a lot of people may not know is Foolio had been rapping since a young kid around 8 years old, being in an actual recording studio, and was even a part of a group called $1 Billion Jit.
The music.
I've been rapping since I was little, like 9, 8, like been rapping, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, at that age,
Like real studios, like in the
For
studio.
real?
Yeah. Me and my cousins.
Who got you into the studio? And that was just something you wanted to do.
My cousins, my cousin's daddy,
Okay.
Paul, like Big Richard Rich. We had a group called $1 Billion Jit. And we made our first song about our grandma who passed away. And that shit was like in 2000, probably like 10, 9, some shit like that. Like 9, 10, something like that.
Foolio would also express how losing his god brother Kendra Austin to being gunned down by the police made him want to go even harder with the music. Foolio would get bigger and bigger as time went on, racking up thousands of views and performing at parties around the city. He would start seeing a real future with music when the views went from the thousands to the 100,000s to 1 million, when he put out some of his biggest early hits like Coming Up, Demon, and Reach the Top. If you go back and listen to a lot of his early songs, you will see that the When I See You and List of Dead Op songs and the disrespectful demonic vibe they gave off was nothing, as he started out making drill songs, which is a big reason why he is known as the person to start the drill wave that originated in Chicago and Jacksonville.
Say that Jacksonville kind of was inspired by Chicago?
Yeah, a little bit. I ain't gonna count. I started the Jacksonville drill rap scene. I did that in my city.
Okay.
I
And what
started
trends do you
dead
feel like
people.
you brought to Jacksonville?
No cap, son. People wasn't not even standing on some cool shit. People weren't talking about dead people, and in my city, everybody was doing this. We started that, like in my city, I started that, like I started anything you could think, like I did everything. I'm legit that people wanted to be. I've been rapping, like anybody you see dissing me, they in my videos. Like.
As Foolio continued to grow in music, his name started to catch the attention of record labels and big name producers. One in particular, Zaytoven. Zaytoven is known for being one of the biggest producers in the industry and pioneered the sound of the trap era that came out of Atlanta, Georgia. He has worked with some of the biggest artists in the game like Future, Gucci Mane, The Migos, Usher, 21 Savage, and the list goes on. Foolio would link up with Zay after moving to Atlanta when he was 19. The two would connect so well that they would go on to make a collab mixtape together called Zaytoven. Zaytoven would kind of take Foolio under his wing and introduce him to other producers and artists, and even take him on tour with him, as he said he saw the talent and potential that Foolio had.
I want to ask you about Foolio. I know when Foolio was first coming up, he was labeled like a Zaytoven artist.
Yeah.
He had moved here to Atlanta to work with
Yeah.
you, right? What was your first impressions of Foolio?
That was the same thing. I heard Foolio rapping on one of my beats. At the first, what's that song? And my money. And I was like, bro, dude, hard. And me, I'm not the type of guy that, okay, he hard, but now I just want to charge him for some beats and this and that. If I think an artist is dope and I like him, bro, I'm taking all my gifts and abilities and saying, hey, come to my studio, let's go to the studio, and I'm finna give you all the beats that you want. You gonna come hang out with me, we're gonna, start building a friendship and a chemistry. I used to take Foolio with me everywhere I went.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first time I
I used to take Foolio with me.
Yeah.
Just cause of his talent.
After linking with Zaytoven and continuing to put the work in, we would see Foolio's career really take off and start racking up millions of streams and views throughout his career. And yes, while it is a fact that the drill songs were his most successful, he does have plenty of music outside of dissing ops that has seen lots of success as well. While always remaining independent, he did receive several calls from top record labels like Alamo Records, who have signed major artists like Rod Wave and Lil Durk, Atlantic Records, who have signed artists like NBA Youngboy, Kodak Black, and Young Thug, and QC, who have signed artists like Lil Baby, the Migos, and Lil Yachty. And that's just to name a few of the top labels and major artists that are linked to them that have showed interest in Foolio. He did, however, have a distribution deal with Create Music Group.
It was a good meeting though. I shout out Alamo. I fought with him, but I ain't never signed to him though.
Have you ever signed a deal?
No, I got a distribution deal with Craig.
Okay.
That's what I fuck with. That's what I fuck with. Craig,
Okay.
man.
What stopped you from signing a deal? Because a lot of these young cats, they see money, they see dollar signs, and they sign or whatever.
Bro, it's so crazy. I don't have ever, like, bro, any label you could think of, bro, like, flew me out. I don't been in front of these people.
But I always chose to stay independent, which is a huge accomplishment to have the success and impact he had in the music industry while being independent, something that very few artists can say they did. As mentioned earlier, Foolio had a rough come up, which influenced him to jump into the streets and get involved with gangs, guns, and street beefs. As you would hear in many of his songs and interviews, he was part of a group called KTA, which mainly included people from the same hood he grew up in, known as 6 Block. Foolio would become the face of his hood and is commonly called 6, Big 6, or 6 from the bricks. They would have beefs with multiple other groups, but the one that would soon be known all over the world was the beef between them and ATK. And this beef has taken so many lives that it is known as one of the deadliest beefs ever. This beef would stay under the radar for years until 2021, when viral diss songs trolling deceased members from both sides using classic melodic samples and beats from Vanessa Carlton and Fantasia were released and shocked the rap world, as nobody had ever seen anything like this. Of course, I'm talking about Who I Smoke dissing KTA members and When I See You dissing ATK members. There were also several other songs with the sides going back and forth as the beef had carried over to the music. Foolio even has a song called List of Dead Ops, where he is literally going through a whole list of deceased rivals. ATK is a group mainly from the west side of Jacksonville and is known through a rapper that is labeled as Foolio's biggest op, Youngin Ace. To be clear, as many of you may know, Ace isn't just some rapper that's part of a deadly beef with Foolio. He's arguably, depending on who you ask, the biggest rapper to come out of Jacksonville. I mean, if you go by the numbers, he is the most successful artist from the city. Just like Foolio, Ace had a rough upbringing, which also pushed him into the streets at an early age, and says in an interview how his house had been shot up multiple times.
My room right here. Them boys shot my house up. I was right there on the bed, me and my little brother Quan. They shot my house up from right here. This is my mama's shit right here. They shot my mama's house up. They shot this part right here. My mama was in the room, they shot that bitch up. My house always got shot up. They always spent on my shit.
Both these groups would have alliances with other groups throughout the city that would play a big role in this war, with KTA being associated with a group called Y&R, known by rapper Y&R Mookie and Spot 'em Got 'em, and ATK being with a group from the east side called 1200/Cuckoo Gang, known by rappers Whopper with the Chopper, Spin the Beans, and J. Breezy. A few other notable names that have played a big role in this war are Queso, ATK, Kenny Caps, KTA, ATK Scotty, Y&R Slugger T, and K Shorty and La Cracker, who are very close friends who are associated with KTA, but I'm not sure if they ever claimed to be a part of the group. But those are just a few names of many others who have been mentioned a lot when talking about this war. Now, I won't go into full detail about every incident that occurred, but if you want to know the full story of this war, there are several videos on YouTube about it, most notably the one by Trap Lord Ross, which I highly recommend. But this beef played such a huge role in Foolio's career and life that I will give a quick summary of how dangerous this beef would be. Through all the research I've done, no one seems to know exactly when and why the beef actually started. But the first bloodshed that repeatedly pops up was the murder of Foolio's cousin, Zion Brown, which allegedly was committed by an associate of Youngin Ace named DeAndre Thomas, aka Trey Shorty. Thomas was linked to Ace by both of them being arrested together in a robbery case. There has been speculation that Thomas was not alone during this murder, but no evidence has ever been found that would link Ace or any other ATK member to this crime. Not long after this happened, Ace would take a devastating loss that also nearly took his life. While out celebrating his best friend's birthday, Ace, along with his brother Quan and two friends, Royale aka 23, whose birthday they were celebrating, and Kobe aka 4, would be gunned down at a red light that would leave Ace as being the only one to survive in the shooting after being shot 8 times during the shooting.
So, on my little brother's birthday, was my best friend, his name 23. On his birthday, I'm like, shit, little bro, let's go do some shit. Cause our life so fucked up, it's like, you live or you die. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, let's go out to eat, man. Fuck this shit, man, we out here. You know what I'm saying? And my brother, my real brother, he had just graduated like 2 weeks before that. I'm like, shit, let's go out to eat, little bro. Let's go, you know what I'm saying, go eat some shit. Like, we have emotion, we straight, like, you feel me? He like, all right, bet. He ain't really want to go because we don't do this type of stuff. Like, going out to eat because, bro, we in the streets. Anything can happen, feel me? So we go, boom, boom, bop. We went in there, we ate. Cheers, got his mama and his sister them in there, you know what I'm saying? Everybody done pulled up. Not everybody, but just like, you know what I'm saying, our homeboy, they done pulled up. We chilling after that, we chilling in the parking lot, laughing, playing, play fighting and shit. Just like, we slipping, for real. We ain't need no point because we so caught up in the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I enjoyed the energy and it's a celebratory moment.
So it's like, fuck. We get in the car, shit, I feel like probably like 25 seconds, 30 seconds. Pull up to a light. Nigga, I'm finna call my girlfriend because we arguing about the car because we in my big brother's car.
Why y'all arguing about the car?
Because they want to go see some girls. But I'm calling my girlfriend because like, I'm finna get in the car with my girlfriend. Feel me? Because my girlfriend was eating right across the street from me. Feel me? So I'm calling them, I'm about to call her. Soon as I pull my phone out, I get shot in my hand. See my whole hand, see all this is off, but it grew back, you know what I'm saying? See my whole hand, so when they start shooting, I seen it. But like, they just got the blowing and like, you know what I'm saying?
The Y&R crew have been speculated to allegedly be the ones behind it as retaliation of an incident where Mookie was shot at a party by alleged ATK members. Soon after the incident involving Ace, Y&R Mookie would drop a song named Draco where many speculate he referenced the shooting in the lyrics, saying, I ain't nothing to play with, Ride got grades, 3 ninjas ain't make it, left a ninja car shaking, while also burning a Ace of Spades card, which many connected to Youngin Ace. This wouldn't be the only time Ace would lose someone while being in the crossfire, but this time it would happen in another state. While Ace and other ATK members were in Waycross, Georgia for a show, they would be ambushed allegedly by members of KTA at a hotel that would leave 2 people shot and 1 dead, which would be Ace's friend, Rollo. Both of these incidents happened not even a year apart, as the first shooting happened in June of 2018 and the second in March of 2019. Both still to this day are unsolved. In between these 2 incidents, both sides would take big losses, with Foolio losing Trey D, aka 8, in July 2018, and in the same month, Corbin, who was associated with 1200, would go missing, but it's unsure on when Corbin was actually killed because his death wouldn't be confirmed until a year later when his remains were found in 2019. In August of 2018, KTA member Kenny Caps would be arrested for the murder of 1200 member Spaz that happened at a football game. Remember this situation because it will come up again later in the story. Now remember that name Queso that I mentioned earlier? Well, his name would be involved heavily in this war And in January 2019, he would lose his brother, known as Boss Goon, in a shooting after a show in which him and his father were also shot. Queso would be a menace after this happened, as he would allegedly be involved in multiple shootings, avenging the death of his brother, in which left multiple people being shot and killed. It would take years before these incidents would catch up to Queso, when he would be arrested and is currently being held in jail for 2 separate murders, both being members of KTA. It would only take a month later for KTA to suffer another big loss, with Foolio losing someone he looked at like a little brother, and a name that would be highly disrespected and looked at as a trophy for ATK, and would later be one of the murders that were allegedly involving Queso, and that name is Bibby. Bibby was a devastating loss for Foolio, as he would speak about it in multiple interviews and songs like Bibby Story, which was an emotional song he made expressing how hurt, angry, and guilty he felt, saying he tried to stop Bibby from leaving that day and vowed consequences for anybody that speaks bad on his name.
Like one of the worst losses, like, cause it's like, I just had told him, like, do not, like, it's hot outside, bro. It's just hot. Like, you don't need to be walking regardless, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hot outside, bro. Like, he ain't listen. Like, he was like arrogant. Like, he was like, fuck that, you know? So yeah, I got killed. That shit like broke me, like, you know?
Bibby was also a close friend of K Shorty, who at one point even blamed Foolio for the death of Bibby, saying that he warned Bibby about hanging around Foolio because of how big of a target he was in the streets.
When he got killed, it wasn't for him. Like, and that's just me being real. Like, before he died, a week before he died, I called him on the jail phone, and I say, I see you out there, you feel me? You turn, I see you with Foolio, you doing, I'm like, but don't get caught up in that, bro. I was like, you know how bad they want him. They'll get to anybody just to hurt him.
Foolio and K Shorty would have a up and down relationship after this, but would eventually patch things up. Speaking of K Shorty, he would also be a name involved heavily in this beef, as he would lose his girlfriend in a shooting that he was being targeted in, and he's currently facing murder charges for the shooting that involved 1,200 members, Spinner Benz and Green Light, which resulted in the death of Spinner Ben's cousin, known as 187 No Face. K Shorty and Lil Cracker, who has also been heavily involved in this war, even suffered a shot to the face, were caught by police the following day running out of the car that was involved in the shooting. At this moment, Lil Cracker was only charged with resisting arrest, and a third suspect has been arrested and charged for the murder alongside K Shorty.
Spinner was sitting inside of a Dodge Challenger by a Raceway gas station when gunfire erupted. An SUV sped off as Spinner and another rapper named Greenlight ran into the gas station, but a third man was left behind. The two then ran back to the Challenger, driving to the emergency room. The third man was known as BMG Zay, or 187 No Face, and could be seen in Spinner's video Fuck the City Up. He'd been shot in the head, lasted long enough to make it to the hospital, and was rushed into surgery where he later died. Spinner and Greenlight were detained at the hospital and held for questioning as police determined the shooter's vehicle was a Range Rover Evoque. Immediately following the shooting, Julio Foolio took to Instagram with a series of story posts, trolling Whopper with the chopper and even adding No Face's account, saying wake up. It was originally rumored Spinner Benz had been shot, to which Watt replied with a series of posts directed at Foolio. While the Insta war played out, the next day gang unit detectives were conducting surveillance in the Woodland Acres neighborhood when they observed a black Range Rover Evoque and advised the radio it matched the description of the gas station shooting. As the gang unit pursued, the Range Rover took off at a high rate of speed before crashing into a pole as two suspects attempted to flee before laying down and being handcuffed. They were identified as Therese Powell and 18-year-old Loreno Span, who's also a 6-block rapper who goes by the name Lil Cracker. Spent shell casings could be seen inside of the vehicle, and Lil Cracker was found wearing the same clothing description as the passenger during the shooting. At this time, K Shorty is being held inside of the Duval County Jail without bond, facing 2nd-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, shooting or throwing deadly missiles, a weapons offense, and resisting arrest.
As I said, I'm not gonna go into full detail on the entire beef because that would be a whole nother story in itself. But over time, there would be several diss songs, live videos, trolling back and forth, shootings, murders, and arrests throughout this war that included innocent bystanders, mothers, and even kids that is still going on to this day. The most weird part about this whole beef is that it's been said by both the 2 main names, Foolio and Ace, and even Foolio's mother, that Foolio and Ace didn't even really know each other that well. They just knew of each other.
Young and Ace and Foolio ever tight, or was it just affiliated, or?
I don't think they never met each other. They never met each other.
Oh, okay.
At all.
Okay, Young and Ace did say that in the academics interview. He said that they never met, but I think at one point they were cool, but you know how that goes.
They was just being neutral or whatever, but they never actually met.
Ace even said he never actually seen Foolio before, but it's possible he could have been trolling about that. I don't know.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I ain't really, I don't know him. Like, I never seen him there before.
Right.
Never, I don't even know.
You guys have never had any discussion, no talks, nothing.
I never seen none of these people before.
I want to send my condolences to every person and family that has been and is still being affected behind this war. And rest in peace to all those who have lost their lives. And once again, there are several videos on YouTube that can give you the complete breakdown on what is known as the war in Jacksonville. By now, as you can see, Foolio was living a dangerous life since a young age, with the first attempt on his life being at the age of 15. But as I stated earlier, that was only the first of multiple times the ops tried to take his life. In July of 2020, while out of state in Houston, Texas, shooting a music video, Foolio would be shot after going live, revealing his location. Foolio described the shooting by saying he was grazed in the neck, but that didn't stop him from going live again after the shooting while in the hospital, trolling his ops for failing to kill him.
Huh? Hold on. That mooch.
Yeah, gang shit. You said what?
Bitch ass nigga shot me but didn't kill me. On Kendrick. You fucking stupid.
This shooting will also be mentioned in the song Who I Smoked, in a verse that stated, I was lurking on his page and caught him lacking in Houston. We let out shots, he got shot and went live. This would seemingly confirm that ATK was behind the shooting, but rappers are known to say anything on songs nowadays, and no arrests were ever made, so I would keep it at allegedly. The next known attempt on his life would come the following year in November 2021, when he was walking out of a studio in Jacksonville and 2 people ran up letting off shots. But this time he would be more prepared, as he already had a gun in his hand and was able to shoot back, causing the shooters to retreat and leave the scene.
He like, man, your legs bleeding. He like, you want me to take you to the hospital? I'm like, damn, I can't leave.
So you didn't feel it? That's just straight adrenaline going on.
Yeah, no, I ain't feel shit. I'm like, I can't leave. If I leave, they gon' take me to jail or some shit.
He would once again go live after the shooting, telling his ops he was only grazed in the leg and saying he emptied his whole clip shooting back at them. He further explained this shooting in multiple interviews. At this point, you would think 2 things would be on his mind. 1, stay out of Jacksonville, and 2, be extra cautious at all times no matter what, considering he had already been shot outside of Jacksonville in the Houston shooting. Well, it seems as if he wasn't thinking neither of these things, because the next shooting would happen nearly 2 years later in October of 2023, once again in Jacksonville, when he would attempt to go to a store in the middle of the night, which is definitely not moving extra cautious at all, and would be caught at a stop sign when a car pulled up, shooting up his car, resulting in Foolio almost losing his foot due to a gunshot wound that left a huge hole that Foolio would show in a gruesome picture while laying in the hospital.
I was up
I was up the whole night type shit. My dumb ass, I'm nicking. I wanted to go get a vape from the stove. So I hopped in the car and I guess I got ambushed. Somebody was waiting on me when I pulled out the driveway and shit. And I saw the car, like I saw a little glimpse of the car. But by the time I got to the stop sign, they hopped out and went to shooting and shit. They shot the car. Then I just went to hitting. I went to driving type shit.
And you're by yourself?
Oh yeah, I was dolo.
This would cause Foolio to be in a wheelchair, unable to walk for a while, but that wouldn't stop him from continuing to troll his ops through diss songs and music videos. Throughout his career, Foolio would mention that his grandmother put voodoo on him so he couldn't be killed, and which was seeming to be true when you look at the multiple near-death experiences he had experienced up to this point. Seeing how bad his ops were trying to end him, you see why he would refer to himself as the biggest op and most hated in Jacksonville.
Foolio. That makes
you in my city. I'm part of the biggest op. I don't really do much clip with rappers in my city. Like, yeah, I don't really clip with rappers in my city like that.
They wanted him so bad that even people that were close to him who had nothing to do with the beef would be put in danger, as his ex-girlfriend and his mom would be shot during this war.
Is
my
right?
car got shot up.
Your car got shot and your girl was in the car, right?
Yeah, I wasn't in the car. She was driving the car.
Did she get hit?
Yeah, but she good though. Yeah.
So like again,
she ain't my girl, she my ex-girl.
But again, right? Like that.
My garage is very dark. I stay in a nice neighborhood. As I'm biking out, I'm letting my garage down. Then I just heard the bullets, heard the gunshots.
It was clear that no matter how much time would go by, they were not gonna stop until they completed their mission, in which they would do while Foolio would be out celebrating his 26th birthday in Tampa, Florida, when him and 3 others would be ambushed while sitting in the car at a Holiday Inn parking lot, which resulted in all 4 being shot and Foolio being killed.
4 people were shot and so were 2 cars. Police say they are also now a part of the investigation. A birthday celebration that took a turn for the worst. Now cars filled with bullet holes are at the center of an investigation to find out why famous rapper Julio Foolio, who just turned 26, was shot dead early this morning.
This incident is eerily similar to that shooting that Foolio would troll about countless times that involved youngin' Ace losing his brother and 2 other friends. Both incidents happened in the month of June. Both involved 4 people being shot in a car while out celebrating a birthday, but instead of only 1 person surviving in the Ace shooting, 3 people would survive in this one and 1 would be killed, which was Foolio. It wouldn't take long before 5 people would be arrested for the murder, 2 of which were linked to the 1200 crew and would turn out to be related to 1200 member Spaz, who I mentioned earlier was killed at a football game, allegedly by Foolio's close friend, Kenny Caps. Another person who was a part of the 5 that have been arrested was a rapper named Gutter Zay, who was also linked to ATK and 1200 through pictures and phone records. The other 2 were the girlfriend of Gutter Zay, who drove him around following Foolio the whole day, and another person who was allegedly one of the shooters, along with the 2 other men linked to 1200. But as far as I know, nothing directly links him to being associated with ATK or 1200 prior to the shooting. He does, however, have a history of gun violence through multiple arrests. As police would discover through investigation, this was a planned out hit, as all 5 people were caught on surveillance videos in multiple locations before, during, and after the murder of Foolio. All 5 are awaiting trial for the murder, and there has been rumors that more arrests may be made.
This is at the hotel, and you can see the shooters are getting in position for their planned out murder. And they are shooting at Charles now, and you can see that he's the passenger in that car that's moving and trying to flee. And again, they're still shooting at him. He's the right front passenger in that vehicle. Surveillance video was critical in this investigation, as suspects were seen on video following Jones from location to location. This shows the lengths that these individuals were willing to go through and achieve that this murder would occur.
Right, was arrested during a traffic stop in Jacksonville, where investigators say officers found a Glock 9mm pistol, a rifle, and 9 spent rifle casings. Detectives say those spent casings matched 2 different shootings before Jones's death, a separate homicide in May and a shooting last October in what investigators say was an attempt to kill Jones then.
As of right now, nothing gives any indication that Youngin Ace was in any way involved with the hit, even though he would release multiple diss songs immediately after the murder, trolling Foolio. But at the moment, it seems he was just capitalizing off the situation to help the success of the song.
Yeah. Again, obviously you didn't have nothing to do with it, but do you feel like when you see that, you're like...
I get the fans what they want to hear.
The same can't be quite said about 1200, as recently newly discovered evidence includes J. Breezy and Spinner Benz, but neither have been arrested or charged with anything.
Cash App records of defendant Isaiah Chance's Cash App account, which is titled with the name Mr. Rich Off War. And what we learned from these documents were that on 6/22 at 1:45 a.m., so this is a Saturday before the murder, it's actually before they leave Jacksonville to come to Tampa, Mr. Rich Off War receives a transfer amount from the account of J. Breezy. J. Breezy is the rapper name of a gentleman whose real name is Jacory Rivers. He's one of the prominent 1200 gang rappers who also released a song after Foolio's death, mocking his death. Mr. Jacory Rivers, or J. Breezy, sends Isaiah Chance $390, and then within minutes of the booking, we see that the charge was made for the Airbnb. It hit readers in Georgia, and on 2 occasions we found that the Silver Cruise was traveling in tandem with a 2014 black Chrysler 300. And that Chrysler 300 was registered to Noah Williams, who goes by the rapper named Spinner Benz. He and another rapper released a song after Foolio's dead that was titled Foolio Dead.
The story of Foolio ended way too soon, as he seemed to have lots of potential at success in the music industry. But like a lot of drill rappers that have lost their lives over the years to gun violence, Foolio just couldn't seem to leave the streets behind and put all his focus on his music career. He had stated in interviews that he would be open to one day sitting down with Youngin Ace and ending the beef. But with Foolio, you don't know if he was trolling or really being serious.
I think that could be done with, let's just say, you and Youngin Ace sitting down together and saying, look, a lot of fuck shit happened on both ends, but we have to just basically, you know, we don't have to be friends, but we got to get past this and kind of just move on with our careers because we're both successful in our own way.
It probably happen sooner than later. You never know what God got planned, you know?
It's also worth noting that throughout the back and forth over the years, it seemed like from the outside looking in that Foolio was responding to diss songs and incidents that came at him and his side first. But this is coming from someone who has no idea what really was going on behind the scenes and can only go off what I have seen and researched on the internet. Overall, Foolio would live a life full of non-stop action between music and the streets, getting millions of views on several songs and having success that leaves you to wonder how big he could have actually been. He lost a lot of close friends to the streets and would eventually suffer the same fate. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the impact he had on the Jacksonville music scene and the drill scene as a whole. He will always be remembered as Big Six from the Bricks. Long live the one and only Julio Foolio.
In the event you do pass away, what do you want to be remembered for?
as a funny, good-hearted young man who loved his people, loyal to his people.